Thanks for staying tuned to your station, the Africa Unlimited Television, and welcome to your program, Security Watch Africa. On this program, every week, we bring that information you need to keep your lives safe and secured. Welcome to your program today. Today, we are going to be having a discussion on the move by Army staff to ensure that officers and soldiers of the Nigerian Army never get involved in politics, never get mixed up with politics because, like he says, their role has nothing to do with politics. They are to protect the country, Nigeria, and not to get involved with politicians or what they are doing. We'll be looking at discussing that in details with our studio guest. But really, it's been a week of mixed feelings. Some good and some not too good activities that took place during the week. The sad one was the killing that took place at the St. Francis Catholic Church in Ondo State, and the news coming out of it after the National Security Council met and talking about ISWAP being responsible. A lot of questions are there to be asked. We're seeking answers for that also, because I would say that for so many months, there have been intelligence reports that the likelihood of the remnants of those who have been defeated in the northeast coming down southwards, going towards northwest, north central, southwards, is possible. And we expected that the intelligence group of Nigerians should have done something about it. It's sad. For me, I would say it's an indictment on the intelligence system in Nigeria. If the National Security Council could come out to say, yes, it's this, really shows that there's a failure somewhere and something needs to be done urgently, because the lives of Nigerians is very, very important to protect the lives of Nigerians. Yes, a lot of things, some good ones. The primaries of the political parties have been done and concluded. Winners have emerged, losers are there. They have been networking to reconcile. As it concerns security, is that we are bold to say that the security agencies played their role very effectively. There's no breach of any security in all the centers where the primaries were held. We must say here that the security agencies did very, very, very well in that. And we hope that the rundown now, because the campaigns are beginning, we hope that they will also do much, much better as we go towards the 2023 general elections. Yes, we also have some reports for you. Yes, we'll be starting up with a report from Lagos State. During the week, the Lagos State government decided, working together with the Lagos State Police Command, to enforce the ban on commercial motorcycle operators in 6 local governments of that state. Some people had said that would it happen because before now the ban has been there, but nobody complies. But the Commissioner of Police in Lagos State, talking about CP Abiodun Sylvester Alabi, is somebody that I know very well. He's a no-nonsense police officer. He has put his foot down, working with his men to ensure that anybody who violates the law pays for it. Sit back as we bring you this report by Peggy Agbe.
There are some crimes linked to some operators of commercial motorcycles in Lagos State, coupled with serious high risks of accidents involving the use of these commercial motorcycles. Recently, the incident of jungle justice carried out by some of these motorcycle riders and their sympathizers propelled the Lagos State government to finally direct the Lagos State Police Command to aggressively enforce the ban of the use of commercial motorcycles in 6 of 8 local government areas. To assess the compliance and enforcement of this ban, Security Watch Africa visited Lagos State and spoke with the Commissioner of Police, CP Abiodun Sylvester Alabi.
Officers and men of this command are dedicated. They have been doing their best You can attest to the fact that of recent, there was a ban of Okada in about 6 local governments. I remember when I was granted an interview, what a pertinent question that was asked was that this is not the first time they are enforcing this ban. What am I going to do differently from the previous officer? And I told them, well, it has to do with the intensity of enforcement. Once you have shown the leadership, I believe others will follow suit. And that's exactly what we are seeing today. You agree with me that so far so good. We have been able to make a mark in that regard, that there is no reason why people should not obey laws. And there's no reason why we should shirk our responsibility in enforcing the laws made.
A board member of Lagos State Security Trust Fund, Dr. Ayodele Ogunson, speaking to Security Watch Africa, revealed that the state held several consultations with stakeholders in the commercial motorcycle transport business and some community leaders before the commencement of the enforcement.
When this law came into existence some years ago, there were very thorough consultation, and all of us would know that. And what I think we should even be talking about is, to the stakeholders, the government had been a bit lenient. You make a law 5-6 years ago, and you are supposed to respond immediately and enforce, but you decide to be lenient on the people in that sector for 6 years, rather than, sending a wrong signal to the government. I think what they should do is to say, government, we thank you, we really appreciate you. But having said that, I will say that the government has a way of consulting. Sometimes it may not be in the open. They will just call the stakeholders privately, and then they will engage them and say, look, we're serious about this at this time, which they have done.
Lagosians were not left out as Security Watch Africa's crew took to the streets to hear from the people on how they feel about the ban. They said,
generally, I would say that it's not a bad action, really, although it comes with some side effects. But on the other side, there are much more damage being done by these Okada men. They drive recklessly, and there have been so much wrong things being done by them, because they know the corners, they know the intricacies of your streets. They can actually come out as informants for those who want to rob. I've seen it many times. It's not like I was told. I've seen it happen.
I'm looking at the fact that the ban is necessary, because along this lane, the traffic has reduced drastically. It's a good development, but the government too should try as much as possible to create jobs for these people, because the ban of Okada might lead to a lot of crime, of which we are facing right now. So I just hope that government should have one or two alternatives to cushion that effect of the ban. That's all.
I feel it's awkward that the system is not really working in our favor, because the Okada ban, I understand it's for security reasons. They are banning the Okadas, but there are no measures put in place to replace this system, to help those that are being stopped from working, because it is a source of income for most families, it is a source of occupation for most people, and it is a relief for stress for citizens using Okada, because there are some routes. We understand that Lagos is congested and a lot of traffic everywhere here and there, but nothing was put in place at first to make sure that if all these people are going to stop this particular job or stop using Okada, there will be something for them to do.
But it's been so challenging these days, because we have to be on a long queue, and before we get the keke, unlike before, if there was Okada, you see every other people that don't want to use keke, they'll just join the Okada, that's the bike, they'll fly it. But now it has really been challenging, because sometimes we stand, like yesterday, I stood there for like 1 hour 30 minutes trying to get keke, and even this keke that are coming, not like they will have to even increase the fare, because normally it's like a 150 naira, but they now increased it due to the fact that they know that, oh, there's no Okada, everybody will want to rush the keke and this other small shuttle bus. So it's really been challenging for me personally.
Dr. Ogunson, however, disclosed that the Lagos State government is concerned about the welfare of residents and has made available alternative minibuses for those who are affected by the ban.
The members of the public are a bit inconvenient because they have to trek some long distances to get certain things done. But I thank God for my very visionary, compassionate, and responsive governor, Governor Sanwo-Olu. He has put so many things in place. There are vehicles that are on ground now that people come over. If you know you're out of Okada business, and you know you have what it takes to get and take some government, support and subsidy, come. You must be citizens of Lagos. You must be resident in Lagos. You must do business here. Come forth with something very reasonable. The government is willing to help you. We have vehicles. You just launch some taxes. You just launch some, small vehicles. In their thousands, they are all parked there. People have started coming, to apply for that. It's open. There is nothing like politics here. If you know you want to continue in this industry of transportation, come on board and take some of these things, and then we are ready to offer you. But for you to ask us to keep encouraging lawlessness and make people live in fear, no, we can't agree with that.
It is pertinent to state that if the desire of a secured Lagos and a truly urban city must be realized, the enforcement of the ban on commercial motorcycles plying major highways must be sustained. Peggy Agbe, Security Watch Africa, Lagos State.
Yeah, welcome back. Yes, and the Commissioner of Police, CPR Alabi, did say that for 10 years since the ban and the enforcement, 10 days since the enforcement began, there have not been any single traffic robbery in the state of Lagos. Imagine that. So you can see how this has helped to reduce insecurity, and the enforcement, like he said, will continue and will continue because they are ready to ensure that these people don't get back to business. Instead, other local governments may also be included so that there will be a statewide ban. Let there be some decency and save of people's lives. Yes, let's go to the next report before I bring in my guest who is already in the studio. The next report is talking about the issue of jungle justice. It has claimed so many lives in this country, and not only Nigeria, across Africa, and a lot of people are concerned and worried about it. Sit back as we bring you this report put together by Shekina Chinkere.
Jungle justice or mob justice or lynching is a form of public extrajudicial killings. This is a practice where people take laws into their own hands and maimed or killed alleged offenders for perceived heinous crimes. Every day, at least one person in Africa faces torture or even death at the hands of irate citizens who constitute themselves to be accusers, judges, and executioners. The victims are deprived of his or her rights, which everyone is entitled to under the rule of law. Punishment is usually barbaric, involving merciless beatings, stoning, and inflicting of bodily harms and burning. This has become a disturbing trend because most often innocent persons fall victim. Security Watch Africa spoke with the Nigeria Police Force spokesperson, CSP Olumuyiwa Adejobi, on what laws are against jungle justice.
We may not have any specific law against jungle justice, but the end result of jungle justice is what we can actually place under a particular section of the law. Either you lynch one, that is killing someone, or you attack someone, you cause injuries and the likes. There's no how you not place the end product of jungle justice under a particular law. And as the name implies, it is jungle. Jungle justice, as the name implies, it's a situation where you take laws into your hand without any recourse to provisions of the law or following the provisions of the Criminal Justice Acts of the land, and it is condemned in totality.
Some citizens gave their views on issues of jungle justice.
If some of these people are being arrested, do the part of the government, at the end of the day, they go scot-free. So the people now feel that it is proper. Let's end this show to teach other person lesson. That if you see such a thing, by so doing, you'll be discouraged that if I happen to do something similar, this is what I'm going to experience.
One of the reasons why jungle justice is being done, especially in Africa or Nigeria particularly, is because the constitution is not strengthened. The constitution is not alive. Let me say it's not alive. If the constitution is alive, I think no individual, as a sovereignty country, no individual have the right to take someone's life. Go to other country where the constitution is strong. You don't have the right, because I heard yesterday that somebody kicked a cat and the person is sentenced to, is it jail, in prison? I say, cat. Then coming back home. Why is it so? Because we don't respect the Constitution. We take human beings as animals, and which is very, very bad.
A lot of victims, a lot of innocent people have become victims of this kind of issues. So what we need to do, the mechanism need to be put in place by the security agencies. Like if you have street policing or community policing, as you may say, I think it will be better. So before you lynch a particular suspect, that community policing personnel must have find out what actually happened.
Most times, people that mete out those justices are really ignorant. And unfortunately, these things are done to innocent people most times. Sometimes they may not be innocent, but I think jungle justice should be eradicated completely.
CSP Adejobi spoke further on what the Nigeria Police Force is doing to checkmate these unlawful acts.
We have a lot of duties to do as police organization, as NGOs, CLOs, to educate Nigerians, to enlighten them on understanding the law. If you don't understand this law, you think everything we do is wrong. It is not so. Release somebody with human cause on bail is a bailable offense because it's not murder case. Except you have established that it's connected to the murder of that person who has the head. But if you don't do that, you can't charge him for murder. You can only charge him for low possession of human cause, and it's a bailable offense. Even harms, except you are using another act, maybe firearms and anti-robbery, robbery acts. If it is normal law, the normal law is on low possession of firearms. It's bailable offense. Yes, it's a bailable offense. So I think what we should do more is to educate Nigerians to understand this law. And I always say that most of these law books are not restricted documents. Go to any bookshop, get them, read them.
On what factors could mitigate jungle justice, again, CSP Adejobi said this.
The way forward is advocacy, enlightenment program, having workshops, seminars, and at every forum, our scholars, experts in security business, academics, all of them should continue to tell Nigerians that let us understand the law. The basic thing here is if you don't understand the law, you have wrong perception of the system. When you have wrong perception of the system, you take laws into your hand. And the end product is definitely going to be a criminal offense, either murder or grievous harm to someone, and is a punishable offense under the law.
The gains of our nation cannot be harnessed without unity. Shekina Chinkere, reporting for Security Watch Africa, Abuja.
Welcome back. If you are just joining us, we're coasting home towards the end of the program, but we'll try to spare time to discuss the topic which we have to look into today, which is very, very, very important. My guest is in the studio, and my guest is Chimezie Ajadike is a public affairs analyst. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Patrick.
If not that we already have a program, a topic in mind, this issue of jungle justice should have been a discussion that I was just thinking about, because so many things that was raised there. But seriously speaking, I don't know. Maybe we'll discuss it at the next edition of this program. But let's look at the topic we're looking at today. During the week in Port Harcourt, Rivers State, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahya, through Major General Victor Ezugo, did warn Nigerian Army personnel, officers and soldiers not to get involved in politics because they are not supposed to be seen involving in politics. They are to, in any way, in any form, because this is a political period we are in. Many people have hailed it because it's part of the reforms that the Chief of Army Staff is bringing in the system to make the Nigerian Army truly a professional army. Tell me, what do you think about this?
Yes, it would be very unfortunate if the army or the Nigerian Armed Forces is seen to be partisan in any way. And I think because they are primarily saddled with the security and maintaining the integrity of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, their loyalty, their professional loyalty and their ethical loyalty, if I should say that, is also targeted towards the territory of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and nothing else, whether a party is involved or not. The important thing is to make sure that the loyalty of the armed forces is aimed at the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So if some members of the armed forces begin to dabble into, intentionally or unintentionally, begin to make political statements or make comments that could be misconstrued as political in nature, then I think it is something that requires some form of concern, because it would be immediately interpreted by the public that the armed forces are beginning to tilt towards a particular political establishment, which ought not to be. Their concern and their loyalty is designed to be towards the Commander-in-Chief, whether he is from a particular political party or not. It is the Commander-in-Chief himself and the Chief of Army Staff in the system of things. So I don't think it is a proper thing. Well, I wouldn't want to say it was intended in a way. I just want to say perhaps it was they just made those comments or those statements in the spur of the moment or in the heat of the moment, and it is good that the Chief of Army Staff had to raise it and make sure that they realize that it is not a professional way to go, and it is something that they ought to be very, very clear and concerned about, that they do not get found wanting. They are not found wanting, dabbling in such again. So I think the Chief of Army Staff is very, very correct. He has to provide direction. He has to provide make sure that they maintain their professionalism and how they are perceived by the public, so that the public perception would not change after all the years of hard work, with all the reforms that have been put in place by the Commander-in-Chief and the Chiefs of Army Staff in recent time.
Yeah, because, it's part of the reform. He has said he will make sure that the Nigerian Army actually becomes that professional army, which is intended to be, stay away from politics, so that you'll be respected.
Yes.
And because that is the pride of the nation, that is what they are called. Now, some people have said, look, these people who are in the Nigerian Army wearing the green uniform, they're also Nigerians.
Of course.
If you say don't get involved in politics or don't have political affiliation or sympathy, are you not depriving them of their... I don't know. How can that be balanced?
Everyone in Nigeria has an opinion on everything, no matter how incorrect and no matter how unfounded the opinion might be. Based on the professional code of conduct of the Nigerian Armed Forces, the moment you are a personnel, a member of staff of the armed forces, there are certain rules, or there are certain, let me use the term, privileges that don't, to you. Because you are a property of the armed forces, you are a component, let me not say property, you are a component of the armed forces and no longer a Nigerian citizen or a civilian, as the case may be. So the rights that are accruable to civilians should not be something that everybody would say, you have these privileges, you should have these privileges because you are also a Nigerian, because you're... No, your code of conduct supersedes whatever privileges you ought to have had as an ordinary citizen. So you are restricted to certain ambits of the code of conduct that you signed up for. So like I said, Nigerians can say anything they want. We love to talk, we love to say the things we want, but if we delve deeper into the code of conduct of the Nigerian Armed Forces, we will find out that politics is one of the things they are not permitted to indulge in at all.
Exactly.
They are not permitted to. If you want to resign, you are free to resign, you are free to leave and then go and pursue. Yes.
Yeah.
But as long as you are within a lethal fighting force, it means that as a politician, you can, inappropriately use the capacities of this particular fighting force to your own advantage, which ought not to be. So you are restricted to a code of conduct, and I believe that, like I said, if Nigerians delve deeper, they would find out that there is no need to be, making some opinions, because it is proper we get informed before we make some opinions.
Exactly.
Yes.
Unfortunately, time is not our friend. We are being asked to leave. We'll have dealt more on this issue. But finally, some have actually commended the Chief of Army Staff for being bold enough and giving such directive. Are you in agreement with that?
Yes, I am. He has done very well. He has tried, and I believe that we all can agree that the Nigerian armed forces and the Nigerian army particularly have scaled up very, very, how do I put it, exponential in terms of perception, in terms of indices that are used to rate fighting forces of nations. I think he has done very, very well, but it's not to rest on his oars.
No.
I know he has a goal, he has a target, and I wish him well. I believe he would achieve all of them in subsequent, as time goes on.
Thank you so much, my brother, Mr. Anyadike. It's a pleasure to have you again in the studio.
Patrick.
But we're going to have time to discuss more on other issues.
I agree, sir.
Sadly, we have to leave for other programs to continue. Really, we'll have talked more and looked at the 17th Africa Security Watch Awards and Conference that is coming up very, very soon. Already nominations are beginning to come in, and you can send your nomination to the email secwatchafrica1997@gmail.com or info@securitywatchafrica.org. There are categories to be entered because we must celebrate the African best, we must celebrate our best so that we will tell the world that we can get it right, and right it must be. If you have enjoyed watching this program, I will ask that you join us again next week when we'll bring you another exciting edition. Bye for now.